Mustafa Janer joins us now. He's an assistant professor of Iranian studies at the Middle East Institute in Sakarya University. So, Mustafa, just a short while ago, we were playing a map which basically showed the attacks that have taken place across the Middle East. Obviously, the highest concentration of attacks is within Iran that were perpetrated by the United States and Israel. But on the other hand, if you look at the wider region, you can see that Iranian retaliation is taking place in the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, and obviously Israel. And a few hours ago, there were reports of some Iranian drones hitting some residential places in places like Dubai. So certainly when you look at the scale of the confrontation right now, I think it's fair to say that all of this is unprecedented.
Yes, exactly. We are witnessing something historically unprecedented. I think for the first time in modern Middle Eastern history, five Gulf states and plus Jordan are being struck simultaneously. That is not a routine escalation, that's a structural shift actually, and it suggests that maybe we are reaching to a point that we are seeing the end that we have traditionally understood. So Iran has made it clear that it would not respond in a limited or purely symbolic manner to establish its deterrence. It possesses multiple instruments, military, economic, and regional. I think what will happen tonight, particularly the scale and intensity of Iran's next wave of attacks by using its ballistic missiles, will likely shape the trajectory of the war. So I said that Iran has several options. So the retaliation was swift, but it was not confined to the military domain. It also targets economic outputs and strategic choke points like the closure of the Strait of Hormuz or targeting of a global financial hub such as Dubai, that these are signaling that Iran is actually attempting to externalize the costs of this war, externalize in such a way that it wants to spread its economic consequences far beyond the immediate battlefield. So I think this is a deliberate strategy because Iran says that if Iran pays a price, the international system will also pay a price because when we think about the Strait of Hormuz, it's a strategic choke point that 30% of globally traded oil and also 20% of LNG pass through that strait, that narrow waterway, and 20% of these energy sources goes to European markets, and the 80% and the Chinese actually has the biggest share in it. It goes to the Asian markets. So the Iran's response was swift, and Iran was actually calculating that it could impose such a heavy damage costs on the global economy so that it could alter the strategic calculus of the United States. What stands out to me is that Iran's response also demonstrates a high degree of preparedness. We know that this war was anticipated, so it was a matter of timing rather than a possibility.
Right.
And also Iran, let me add this, Iran also didn't act alone in targeting these targets like Israel's and US bases. So it is increasingly clear that its regional allies, its regional partners are also becoming involved as well.
Now, Mustafa, as you were talking, we were running a strap which basically highlights one of the latest statements made by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in which he is saying that there are multiple signs that the Iranian supreme leader Ali Khamenei has gone, which, I mean, he's trying to say that he has been killed. But if you look at his statement, even he cannot really provide any evidence to justify his claim. So why claim something like this when he cannot prove it?
So it's actually part of a psychological warfare campaign against Iran. I always approach that kind of claims with a caution and suspicion because let's remember the June war in last year. New York Times claimed that Ali Shamkhani and Ismail Qani they were killed, but it appeared that weeks later that they were alive, they were safe and sound. So by claiming that that kind of they targeted and killed many senior figures, military officers or political leaders, they are trying to break the Iran's resistance against Israel. But Iran is a country that we should know that Iran is a country that the power structure, that the military structure, actually they are organized in a way that multi-layered way. So and also the system and continuity is important here. So when you kill a leader, even the supreme leader, they will elect a new leader immediately. So they will elect a new president or they will appoint a new commander. The system and continuity is important when it comes to Iranian system. So in that way, Iran is not like Syria or Iraq or Venezuela. So the swift, quick, and easy military victory is not possible in Iran. Iran is a big country. 90 million people are living in Iran. So it's a vast country geographically. So it's really not possible to apply decapitation strategy against Iran. So targeting its high-ranking officers and wait for the Iranian people so-called opposition to take over the government. It's not possible actually. So I think the Israel and the US are conducting a psychological warfare campaign against Iranians, but I don't think that this is feasible, and the decapitation strategy is not applicable to the Iranian case.
Mustafa Janner, thanks very much for joining me here on TRT World. As always, really appreciate your taking out the time. And as Mustafa was talking, I'm seeing the latest line on my screen.